Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paddy McGuinness. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Today we're going to try to help you players climb out of bronze. Just know that in life, if someone tells you there's some magic pill or trick that will give you all you ever wanted, know that it's probably a lot of bollocks. This video is not guaranteed to get you out of bronze, it's just an extra couple things you can do to improve your chances. How I'm going to be doing this is by talking about all the roles and their relative strengths at bronze. So for instance, which roles I think are maybe a little bit more suited for climbing. Then we'll do champion picks per role, and then we do the runes, masteries, and a quick gameplay guide for each champion. Now if you've liked what you've seen, don't forget to subscribe, and comment down below if you want me to elaborate on any of the points I made in this video. Now we're going to be talking about which roles are stronger at lower elo, in my opinion. Any role can carry, I really do mean it. I just think certain roles are just a little bit more suited towards it, and some are designed a little bit more for teamwork, and there isn't as much teamwork at the lower elo. Starting off with what I think is the weakest, I think AD carry is one of the least consistent climbing roles at bronze elo, if you are a bronze elo player, because you quite mechanically taxing at times, but the bigger issue is the point of the lane is the late game spike, and I think bronze late game is essentially a coin toss every single time it reaches past 35 minutes. So the role that is built towards a coin toss, who would have thought it, is not terribly consistent. I rate support at bronze elo not great. I think supporting overall in all the ranks is a great role to climb with. I just think at low elo you're just too reliant on your other teammates, and sometimes you can be left hanging by yourself and you're all in and die, and it can be pretty discouraging. It might surprise some people seeing jungle this low ranked, but I think at any other rank it is by far the best role to climb with, from silver all the way to challenger. But in bronze, I think the biggest weakness is you need to have quite a bit of game knowledge of all the other lanes, as you'll be ganking every single lane. As well as jungling itself is not completely intuitive. Like when you look at a lane you go, I walk down lane, kill minion, kill tower. But in jungle you have all different paths and ways to go about it, and you have to think more than any other role. I think mid is a great role to carry with. I think it blends game knowledge with mechanics almost perfectly, but I think it has a lot of carry potential because you're right in the middle of the game, so if you win your lane hard enough you can go to either of the two lanes and really decide how the game's played. The only problem is, as I said, it requires both mechanics and game knowledge, so that can sometimes be hard. Another problem I have with mid lane is if you're playing against, say, a Lux and they even have a small idea of what they're doing, they can wave clear from range all day, and you can't punish as hard as other roles, say like top and jungle. So that can sometimes be hard to really get the ball rolling as hard as you want to carry the game. I think the hidden OP of bronze is actually top lane. I think they are the perfect blend of independent and snowbally. So you'll have games, of course, where you get camped by the jungler and there's not too much you can do. That's just life. You're not going to win every single game in League. But I think if you're given enough time to yourself and you learn these all-ins I'm going to talk about, I think at least 60 to 70% of the time you're just going to run away with the game, and that's all we're looking to do. And that strategy doesn't really stop working until mid to high silver. If you can't decide on what role you want to play, sometimes the best choice is just to play your best role, even if you wish it wasn't. So even though I didn't recommend support, I think a lot of people are naturally quite good at support because it's lower mechanically but still definitely has an impact on the game. And that was exactly what happened with me. I was much better at support than the other roles at the time, so I just stuck to it till I got out of the elo I was at, and then I learned to play AD carry. And if you still can't decide on what role to play, just maybe go with my recommendation and give top lane a go. It's a lot of fun and can be really effective. Now we're going to be going into the champion picks per role and some information on how to play it. On the left here you'll see an annotation on all the different timestamps for the different positions. So just click on your main. If not, sit back, watch them all, so you can learn a bit more about the different positions. And if you're looking for a bit more information, click over the portrait of the champion and it'll send you to a website that gives you a more in-depth rundown of the skill order and item builds of each champion. I'll still include a basic rundown of the runes and masteries. And here are the 3 champions I recommend for support. Here is the rune page for the Leon and Alistair. This page also goes with nearly all tanky supports. And here are the masteries for those 2 champions. Here is the rune page for the Sona, and also the mastery page. Now if you already have a AP mid lane page, that will work too and save you some IP. Now to play the Leona and Alistair, what you want to do is you want to go for a level 2 all in. So at the start of the game, you'll want to type out to your AD carry that as soon as you hit the waves, you want to start pushing as fast as possible, and the first wave and the next 3 melee minions of the second wave will give you the level up. So when you see the third melee minion getting low, you want to put yourself in a position where you can combo directly after you get the level. Ping, 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 then all in, ignite, and don't forget to auto attack a lot because your autos do basically the same amount of damage as an AD carry in the early game. With Sona at lower elo, what you want to do is just focus on that Q. It hits really hard, it's not even aimed, and it's undodgeable. So what that means is you just walk roughly in the range, that's typically your auto attack range, and then you just tap Q, and try to get an auto up, and then you just run away. And you rinse and repeat, and it's so irritating as an AD carry main. The only thing you have to look out for is if they play some of the champions I recommended, like Leon or Alistar, because you are really squishy and they can just all in and kill you. If not, you can just keep poking them all day. Better yet, you have a heal on your W, so you poke them down and you're getting healthier as time goes by. It's very hard to play against at lower elo. The only real answer is all-inning or having your own sustain, which means healing. Not only is Sona strong in the lane, but in the mid and late game, her ulti can single-handedly win games. If you flash ulti important targets, they're completely stunned up for the duration of the fight and can be killed before they even get a chance to respond. It's really up to you if you take Ignite or Exhaust. I think at the lower elo, it's so much damage, and with the Ignite you can just kill people outright. But I mean, I think technically the better choice is Exhaust. It really is up to you though. Having Ignite is a lot of fun. We're gonna do something a little differently for AD carry. I think unlike the other roles, AD carry just doesn't have the same benefit from changing champion picks and changing your playstyle, as all the champions are relatively the same, and the playstyles are pretty much determined by your support. So instead what I've done for aspiring AD carry mains is on screen you'll see an annotation, and that's a guide to just AD carry as a role, and it's a fantastic written article, and it'll cover everything you need from the basics all the way to the advanced stuff. In my opinion, it goes all the way to diamond level sort of knowledge. So it will cover everything you'll need for a good long while. The one tip I will give AD carry mains is buying Guardian Angel when you're starting to get killed, even a little bit, is quite worth it, because I think especially in lower elos, it's kind of like a deterrent for getting killed in the first place. Sometimes their tanks and assassins won't target you, and they'll aim for the squishy support, just because it's someone they can kill easier, but in actual fact, they've wasted all their major abilities on someone that doesn't really matter. Don't take offense, support mains. And that means you can then start doing your damage. Here are the champions I recommend for mid lane. Mid lane probably uses the most amount of rune pages for any role. The reason for that is they have rune pages per opponent and then also per champion that they play. So it can get quite expensive on the IP. So what I'm going to do is just going to give you the basic rune page that will work on every champion. I pretty much guarantee it, but it'll not be optimal, I'd say. And if you want the optimal rune build, just click on the specific champion that you want and go to the guide. The mastery pages change per champion, but this is pretty much universal. The reason why I rank Annie and Ahri so highly is because they're probably the easiest to farm with in the mid lane, especially Annie. And so that means it doesn't take as much of your effort to get a big chunk of the CS, and you can use your abilities while CSing to actually harass the opponent. Now both of them are a little bit more reliant on that level 6 to get the kill though. Once again, there's just, hey, you have to play mid lanes most of the time. Now with Lux, you're not going to have the same sort of success from getting it all in. You really have to just wait for those skill shots to land. You can't try force it, unfortunately. But what you can do is you can just basically push out waves with E and try to hit them at the same time. Make sure you don't forget to weave in some auto attacks. And don't forget, if you do land an ability like your Q or E, make sure you try auto attack them, because it gives you the passive proc, which does almost as much damage as your ability anyway. It really does add up. The beauty of Lux is if you ever get behind, you can simply just farm from tower with your E, because it's one of the longer skill shots of the game, and you can just knock out the waves all day. I don't typically go through item builds in this, but you really do need mana regen on Lux. She chunks through it really fast. Just to be clear before we get into the jungle picks, this isn't going to be a guide on how to jungle. If you need a refresher on how to jungle or you like to learn, there's an annotation on screen that takes you to a video by a guy called Cuzzy, and he's done a great job in breaking it down for the newer players. It's a really good video, go check it out. Here are my recommended champions for jungle. Here is the rune page for J4 or Jarvan 4. Here is the rune page for the Amumu and Zac. And here's the master page for these three and most junglers. Right now there's a keystone called Courage of the Colossus and it is so busted. Make sure you use that. So how you want to play J4 and Zac is you pretty much want to gank constantly. You want to follow this game plan early on, almost to the T, because it's just so strong right now. You want to start red buff, then you want to go to Krugs, some people might remember them as golems, and then you go straight through Tribrush to gank top at level 2 or 3, depending on what level they are. I'm going to be as bold as to say, I think at least 70 to 80% of the time you'll get a kill there, and once you get a kill that consistently in the game, it's going to translate to a win rate really quickly in my opinion. The reason why Mumu is in the list is because I think he's like the Malphite of the jungle. He has a game-winning ult, and he's really simple at the same time, and that's a dangerous combination at low elo. The thing is with the Mumu, your early game ganking is hit and miss at best. If you miss your Q, you do nothing, and even sometimes when you land the Q, you feel like you do nothing. Don't believe what people say, there's nothing necessarily wrong with power farming to level 6 to get your ulti, as long as you make sure it's paid off once you get that ulti. Here are the 3 champions I recommend for top lane. Here's the rune page I use for these 3 champions. You can go for a more optimal rune page, but this one will more than suffice for now. Here's the mastery page for Darius and Renekton, and here's the mastery page for Malphite. Now the reason why you picked Malphite in the first place was for one of 2 reasons. Most likely because they picked a really aggressive AD top laner like a Yasuo, Riven, Darius, Renekton type character, or because your team desperately needs Initiate. And on the first situation, you want to play like a total bitch most of the time. You can absolutely win some of those lanes, but for like at your elo, just play like a bitch and don't die. Grab farm when you can, and then show up to the team fights with 1 or 2 items and just ult their most important player and win game instantly. Now, if you're just Initiate, yes, you can probably play aggressively if you have like an even lane. But why even risk it? Well, once again, you can just play like a bitch and show up to the team fight with tankiness and just ult their most important person and win the game. The reason why Darius and Renekton are so strong at low elo specifically is if you don't know how strong they are and you fight them like a normal champion, you just lose every single time. Especially against Darius. No one can even come close to fighting him early on. You have to completely avoid fights. That's how you play random. And once you figure that out, people at the higher elos, like even silvers, will go, okay, I'm still gonna fight him because he just kills me. But at bronze, just if you right click someone, they're always gonna go, oh, time to fight, and then you just kill them. Like this is not fancy. You just use your buttons and ignite them, and you will probably kill all of them. I'll be covering this topic a lot more in depth in its own video. But for now, all you need to know is if you manage to kill your lane opponent enough times and you manage to kill their turret, you want to roam most likely mid, but maybe bot, and you just walk up to the laner, and you don't do anything stupid like dive or anything, but you just put pressure on them, you walk up to them and threaten to kill them, and they back up away from turret, and hopefully your teammate will just sit there and you and them whack away at the turret, and you just take the turret for free. Try that again in the other third lane, and that's how you snowball games. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've picked up a role and a champion or 2 from this guide, because in the coming weeks we'll be elaborating on the points made in this video and showing you how to actually take the role or champion into the laning phase, mid game, and late game, and how to actually really play that champion to a much higher level. Don't forget to comment down below what champion or role you'd like to see next elaborated on in a video, and let me know any criticisms and feedback you'd like to give me down there so I know what I need to improve on first. I can only work on a couple things at a time there, lads. Don't go too ham on me. It's all about learning here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic day and an even better tomorrow.